Hey there! As we wrap up season 1, we are thrilled to share with you that season 2 is already in the works. Woohoo! We've started recording with some fabulous guests and stories I'm confident you're going to love. But my top priority is serving you, our amazing listeners, and we would love your feedback. What questions are on your mind? What intriguing things do you want to make sure we cover in season 2? Please help us make season 2 even more epic together. Please head to our form in our show notes. You can find it at yourairoadmap.com/podcast feedback. Share your thoughts. Give constructive feedback. You might even be featured in a shout out of a future episode. Thank you so much, Tim, for that awesome idea, etc. We are so excited to hear from you and grow and make this podcast even better. We have so many cool ideas for guests in the future, and there's so many cool stories and projects around the world. I swear every episode we do, every guest I talk to, my knowledge of AI and the field expands. So if you have some ideas about nominations, that form for nominations, self-nominations, friend, colleague, mentor, aspirational nominations, yourairoadmap.com/podcast guest. Okay, thank you. Let's go. Hi, my name is Joan Bajorek. I'm on a mission to decrease fluffy hype and talk about the people actually building an AI. Anyone can build an AI, including you. Whether you're terrified or excited, there's been no better time than today to dive in. Now is the time to be curious and future-proof your career, and ultimately, your income. This podcast isn't about white dudes patting themselves on the back. This is about you and me and all the paths into cool projects around the world. So what's next on your AI roadmap? Let's figure it out together. You ready? This is Your AI Roadmap, the podcast. Hey folks, this is Joan popping in to say a little intro to the episode. This episode is with me and Megan Gray. I met Megan years ago when I was the CEO of Women in Voice, and she was a founder being showcased by Amazon Alexa as a founder. And wow, you all are in for a treat because Megan is not only a visionary, not only trailblazing in her part of the field, not only someone who takes adversity and translates it into huge opportunity, but her story is electrifying. I dare you to listen to this episode and not cry or have chills or really see potential tragedies as the expansion into a new avenue of your career. I literally got chills in this episode and was trying to keep my cool because Megan's story is so visceral. I'm excited for you to hear this. So not only the story part, of course, Megan is trailblazing in computer vision and really thinking in very innovative ways about how we leverage data sets, how we build data sets, how they can be used by Fortune 100 companies, that she can't always disclose exactly how these data sets are being used. But I am so delighted for you to hear the story with Megan. I think the world of her. Go, Megan, go. Okay, let's listen to the episode. All right. Hello. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm the CEO of Mama AI.
Cool. Well, and what are you all doing over at Moment AI?
Yes, we are developing large business models that leverage proprietary data so that partners can build it within their tech stack.
Cool. Okay. And can you give us more concrete details, an example of what that looks like?
Yeah, so a lot of people know what large language models is. Large language model is ChatGPT, and then like following ChatGPT, I think we all saw like 50 other companies pop up within the large language model. Large vision model, we actually try to close the data scarcity between camels and categorize it through AI. So for instance, if somebody having a health event, which digital healthcare will, they lose $90 billion in misdiagnosis every year. $90 billion is left in misdiagnosis just because in a hospital, you just rely on the human eyes, you rely on a few sensors. So we able to actually use a large vision model that uses machine learning, deep learning, which is the way that you train models. And we do a lot of great data through our clinical trials, and we're able to detect when these events are going to happen in the healthcare, but also we look at healthcare behavioral things of that nature. So you think of ChatGPT, but think about if you was able to put that application with all the cameras in the world. That's Moment AI.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, and I think that's, we talked to another guest recently about like multimodal and how people think a lot about like text to text. But when we open up different modalities to be, so multifaceted, computer vision is a piece of that puzzle of the imagery. For those people, like, okay, so I feel like, and maybe this is just in tech, we throw around the words computer vision or sight. Would you mind unpacking what that actually means, at least on the technical side for folks?
Yeah, so computer vision, for the most part, is how you use algorithms and pair them with any type of camera. So I think a lot of computer vision, people see that in an autonomous vehicle, for instance. All the cameras that you see on a Waymo or Cruise or things, that's computer vision. When you see a camera, even when you use an iPhone or Android, and it actually you use your face. Facial recognition is like a subset of AI computer vision. So pretty much computer vision is anything that you could think of that uses a camera and basically a computer, like an AI format algorithm to enhance what the computer is saying. And so that's like a simple way to describe it. And so almost any day, you use some type of form of computer vision.
Right. I feel like it's built in such that people almost forget it's a huge problem. It's a hard, a cool and challenging part of the stack.
Exactly, it's a huge problem because you have to make sure that the data is there, that the AI is being trained correctly, that privacy being used, and then it also depends, when it comes to computer vision, which type of cameras are being used.
Mm.
Obviously, like the cameras that you might use in a house, it's not the same that you use an autonomous vehicle, which is lidars or radars, and then home security you using like maybe like an LG or something that's kind of more basic. So there's so many different cameras and the computer vision all the the way that the detail all depends on the camera, the AI. There's so many things that go into making it better.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Well, I think on a very practical level, most people probably are thinking about when they upgrade a phone and just oh my gosh, the images are so much better. The size of the images when you're sending them to a friend have doubled or tripled. They're multiple megabytes bigger. I think just all of our tech is jumping ahead. And I think hardware is certainly a piece of that. Um, Gosh, I want to like go down a funnel with you about LiDAR and things. And I don't know if that's exactly pertinent. As you're building Moment AI, I'd love to hear kind of your journey into what you all are building, how it's being leveraged, kind of some of that founder product journey. Would you mind sharing some of that?
Yeah, so at Moment AI, we develop large vision models and we develop them for a range, right, use, whether that healthcare, mobility, or other areas that we are going into, early 2025 or 2026. But, we really want to help enterprises leverage this data. So think of Moment AI, when you think of a house, and they have the foundation, the cement. That is what data is to AI. We provide this application of data to enhance, the tech stack, and the tech stack is the product that the enterprises will, eventually commercialize for the end user. And so we provide that data to enhance their product. So, for instance, one of our partners, we right now are testing with multiple Fortune 100 companies. It's been exciting since 2023. It's been a really exciting time for us. But one of these partners are actually in a smart home, and so they able to put this application that we put, and they're able to put it in their cameras to help monitor for long-term care. As is getting older, the demographics is getting older. And so long-term care has become a big issue. Insurance, worry about healthcare, it's been something that it's probably one of the few things that the government can agree that need to be focused on right now. Healthcare, because I've seen it pushed by Congress and the White House, and so probably like five things they can agree on. But long-term care, is a very big thing because the baby boomers is getting older. And on average, a home nurse costs $3,000 a month. Most people do not have $3,000 a month. So we are able to provide, this application, this data to increase the monitoring for this enterprise, for those enterprise that we're testing with right now, to be able to help, elderly people be monitored while their adult children, able to stay in the workforce, go and, live their adult lives. And so, but again, we have our large vision model scale from mobility to healthcare to retail to government security, so many different areas. But you always have to train the model for situational awareness within those different environments, and it could be complicated for training with the environments and having enough data for it. So we actually, I have 9 patents granted or pending. And one of the patents actually deal with data augmentation. So data augmentation sounds really fancy. Data augmentation is just literally people that talk about generated AI. That's literally a form of data augmentation. And so what I was able to do, I realized just collecting real human data, which through our clinical trials, we are partnered with a major research institute by the Walton family that own Walmart. They gave us this research institute this summer to even go faster. And what I realized is that we do not only have to have real human subject data, but we also have to have synthetic data. So one of the things that myself and my team developed was a generated AI model, so we call it a GAN model, that was able to actually create synthetic biomarker data. So literally, the synthetic biometrics, we were able to create that. So that's really, really complicated. It's going to just be able to help so many different industries and verticals.
Oh gosh, what a cool application of the tech. Almost anyone listening, I'm sure, has either a parent or a family member or someone who's getting older in your community and like hoping they're doing well. Like I think care is, as you mentioned, the amount of boomers who are aging, and $3,000, not everyone has that kind of money to have in-house nursing, even if they want to stay in their homes. Like it's how sacred and important it is to take care of our elders, and how big a complicated issue. I love that you're like, even our government agrees, which that's super cool.
And that's just one of the many ways that camels, you think about all the places that camels are, even right now, the way that we do this podcast is doing a camel. Mama AI, we plan to be in every camel in the world, like every single thing, like we are developing these different models to close the data to help these enterprises, improve the way they interact with humans. So, again, that's human machine interaction right there. There's so many different ways that computer vision, levels the playing field between human and machines.
Yeah. Well, and Megan, I love how you're like, every camera in the world, this ambition through the roof, patents. I mean, when you're on the frontier of it, to be putting new patents out there. I just want to remind our listeners, like how fast and how cool your work is. It reminds me, I don't know if you know the work of Effectiva by chance. It's
Effectiva. Yeah. They was founded by MIT, maybe like 2013, 2014, 15. So by women founders. So
exactly.
I stay in touch with the women founders. Effectiva, their AI detected emotions within a driver when it was driving. I remember reading about them, and just being so admired by their work. And I know they got a cryo, and so congrats to them.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna ask about, because they're, as you mentioned, like super detailed about emotions that you like literally can see on the face, the wrinkle lines. If you watch her TED Talk, she talks about like how they decided to code different things, which is fascinating in and of itself. But I found it fascinating that they really pinpointed about drunk driving and tired driving as a liability, and were eventually acquired by Smart Eye, an automotive company. Mm-hmm. And just as the automotive industry thinks about, the future of automotive, if I could just daydream with you, not to be, but when you think about if you want to be acquired one day, your company, do you believe it might be a healthcare play? Do you have any sense of that?
So actually, I see us being, if we was to get a cryo, it would be probably by one of the big tech companies that want to, that goal is to be into multiple enterprises because that's us.
Mm.
So not only, we actually tested with two major auto OEMs right now. So if it seems like I have bags under my eyes, it's because we have been, it's been
Great. Oh my gosh.
crazy time because we all partner with people in the home. We all partner with electronics company. We partner with mobility.
Cool.
I mean, 2023 was our year, and so we all literally tested with some of the biggest players out there. But if I was going to say that we would get to cryo, don't get me wrong. If at the end of the day, if the zeros are white, if the zeros are white, we will partner with allows us to be acquired by one of these companies. But I do think when it comes to large vision model, you think about the way when ChatGPT did a large language models, you suddenly had Microsoft, Google, all trying to create their own. That's where I see the boom of large vision model being. Right now, we are ahead of it. And so I do see these companies either want to acquire or partner with us, which you saw that with OpenAI with their large language models. And so, at the end of the day, we would have to look at the way they impact the team job, the way that what's awful because sometimes because we are gathering a lot of patents, you don't want your company to be acquired just for your patents. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a very realistic world. So, at the end of the day, we have to come down to what we're being offered, the patents, and also, my job. I'm the CEO, but there's so many people livelihoods that depend on me making the right decision for them and their families. So I will also have to I'm gonna make sure this person they walk away with something that they're not about to just leave with $0. So I will also want to make sure I take care of my team who has been with me over these crazy years.
Absolutely. Well, and I think as we're both female founders and CEOs, I think there's maybe I'm biased in this sense. I'll put that out there, but I see different types of leadership often when women are at the helm of a company. As you mentioned, taking care of your team. I certainly talk to my team about what is the ideal work culture? Like as we scale as a company, what principles do we want to put in place? What makes a fabulous workplace for my team and really handing them the mic because retention is one of the things I'm most, keen on that, my team members are phenomenal and trust me, at Women in Voice, people had offers to be poached left and right. So, why do they choose to stay? Why this company? Why this team? Is at least in my beating heart, related to team formation and retention?
I really think so. I think women. I'm not a mother, but I have a lot of nieces, and I do think women we naturally have this motherly instinct almost to take care of people,
Mm.
and I think that like the mother, she tend to even forever the mother would lead the household while the dad go out to work or so even for a long time now with my team, even though they all older than me, I make fun of their age just to always tell them they old.
Megan.
My team, they all older, they all have this experience, and they all come from these big companies like Facebook, Apple, Lockheed Martin, all these different companies, and they can literally work anywhere in the world. And sometimes I have to pinch myself that they chose me, and so
Mm.
it's literally, and that's the thing. A lot of people they like, oh, I chose you, I hired you. I feel like they chose me to put all their trust to be, okay, this is the CEO, this is the founder I want to work for, because when you start a company, it's very early, and you're like, okay, these people are taking pay cuts, and
Mm.
they take your pay cuts to come with you early out, and yeah, you give them equity, but at the very beginning, no matter how much equity, I know Jay Z says, what's 100% of zero, zero. No, that's the truth of it. So, like very early on, you offer them equity, but until that equity is worth something, until they help you build it, that equity means nothing. They come in and they have these. They like, I can tell you literally all my police kids' names. They come in because they sending me pictures of their kids. They like, hey, I was like, hey Megan, I promised my daughter I'd take her to the water park. I was like, hey, you did a lot this week. You did close deals. Go take your daughter to the water. And so I think that's how you create loyalty. Because at a lot of companies, especially in the AI world right now, the money they're willing to pay for AI engineer, AI scientist, a data scientist, they're willing to put the big checks in. My CTO, Matt, he was senior vice president of AI at Booz Allen and at Lockheed Martin. Matt can go work anywhere he wanted. He didn't try to recruit. Same for my marketing people, my go-to marketing. So the fact they choose me, I don't take that for granted, and I think they see that. And I think now, they're passionate about what we're building. They see, that it can become this unicorn company. But more than that, I think they're like, hey, I like working with Paul. I think that I like this team.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I think one of the things that I think is so opportunistic, or like this moment is so beautiful and special, because we're seeing all this innovation on the technical side, right? Literally on the cusp of this innovation. And also our workplaces, especially post COVID. And with leadership, we get to decide, like, you've hit your metrics and beyond, please go outside, take care of your body and take care of yourself and come back next week ready to kill it. I will push back a little bit that women are, I think, socialized, but, to how we take care of each other. But I do believe it's a better world when we can be more holistic. And right, people aren't just pawns, but right, they choose to, or people vote with their feet about a good team. I'm voting with the feet. I've noticed that top talent can, as you mentioned, work wherever they want, literally,
Exactly.
literally.
When you bring in these people, they can work anywhere you want. So, like the tech world is different than most industries. So, I come from a background, where my mom had to work two jobs. Did she like those two jobs she was working? No. But, it's different it's different in the tech world. Like a lot of Americans, middle class, they have to work a job just to, put food on the table, pay the bills, things of that nature. In a tech world, it's like most of them, they choose to work there because they see the vision, they like it, they're getting paid well. It works the work and family time. It works for them. And so, like you said, I do think since COVID, people are like, wait, you want me to come into the office 5 days a week? That's not that's not happening. You see these 4-day work schedules, and people they like, hey, I can do my job and still be with my family, all the time. Not my case. With being the CEO, founder, I do work all the time. So I don't know about you, Joe. You're a founder yourself, so you have to tell me you're able to have this vacation time. I still haven't been able to schedule vacation time for myself.
Yep. No, it's a challenging thing. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I'm doing the very scrappy to more polished founder place, and it's certainly when our revenue gets to a certain place, and I want things to be more sustainable. And right now, we're not quite there yet, and so I certainly don't want to let people know the hours I work, or But I really do. My team really works on milestone based work.
Yeah.
I am not a micromanager. I think that's legit the worst. If you hit your project, you hand it in, and we agree on the deadline, I couldn't care less how many days you work or otherwise. Like, the work gets done, the excellence is there. That's enough for me.
We actually have the same model. We work on a milestone basis. Everybody the whole team can see everybody milestones because this person to pass something along to them. And so we work on that milestone, like you said. If it takes 3 days and everything you've done, everything that we need is done, okay, you go do, Thursday, Friday off but they're all milestone based. Wherever they can, but it's not necessarily 9 to 5. There are all times where you have a meeting and I like, hey, I did meet you at this call on 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for the most part, it's all, they have a very flexible work schedule.
Right. And the transparency you're even talking about, that people know each other's milestones. Like,
Exactly.
I think you and I may have worked at enterprises where there was not transparency, and I could make many, many jokes about that. Um, but we're hearing about your company. We're talking more about workplace than I expected, but I love it. I want to talk just one big question more about the technical side. And then I'd love to talk about your journey, because you have one of the coolest founder stories I know of. Um, because you were literally seeing the frontier of the technology that you're working on. It's pretty wild to me. When you can, if you could extrapolate out and kind of talk about what you see for the next few years, kind of the shape of your field, could you just dream with me about what you see upcoming?
Yes, so I do think large vision models are also going to be part of robotics because, again, when you look at the human machine interaction, what we're doing able to categorize and provide situational awareness around any environment. And robots going to have to be one of those things that have to know the situational awareness, the environment. They're going to have to be able to categorize just not object detection already out there, but say if a robot, because right now, again, and the reason I keep bringing in healthcare is not because it's our only vertical, but it's one of the most complex verticals that is to do. Right now, ever since COVID, there's been a shortage across America in nurses and doctors. Basically, they wasn't getting paid enough to do what they, with their job, and I felt like there was a lot of unappreciation for the people that save our lives when we were all in our homes. One of my sisters is a nurse, so I got to see this firsthand. And I think, imagine if a robot by 2035, I want to say 2030, but first somebody have to build a robot before we could provide them the software. But by 2035, imagine if a robot could say somebody on the streets that just went to a healthcare crisis, say somebody that went in because they already been programmed to recognize this person is having a seizure, sort of cardiac arrest, a stroke. This person, they have a diabetic shock, and so they can be injected with, insulin or things of that nature, or this person just had an allergic reaction. And so
Mm.
imagine if a robot can be able to see this type of vision and recognize it. I think, right now we've seen a lot of robotic companies. I think moment AI, again, we here to stay. I think that we would be we would be able to help train the brain of the robots and help train the eyes. More the eyes than the brain. Help train what they are saying and help train the situational awareness so they can know how to act. Because we just seen maybe for like the last, let's just say 15 years, you'd have seen the autonomous vehicles and you still seen autonomous vehicles crash. Um, and you know why? Because even with billions of dollars thrown at autonomous vehicle, it still lacked that understanding situational awareness, being able to recognize different events that's happening. Because autonomous vehicle are trained, if all the drivers are perfect around you, if the pedestrians use the crosswalk and don't jaywalk in the middle of the street, and so, and it's very unrealistic. And so machines cannot be perfect because humans are not perfect. And I think that Mama AI, this dream, in the future, I do think that we can better the eyes of robots. So right now, we bettering eyes for humans. We bettering eyes, for the camels. But I do think that in the future that you will see Mama AI, large vision models and robotics.
That's so cool. Well, I think that also goes back a little bit to the multimodal thing, or like some people are working so hard on the robotics, right?
Yeah.
I've seen this, robot that can peel a banana or something, certain things, but they need excellent computer vision to
Exactly.
be able to enable, or like different parts of the stack improving dramatically. So I definitely see you being there. Well, oh my gosh, I know we're short on time. I could talk to you for so long. Can you tell people a little bit about your career path journey to being this CEO and founder of this phenomenal company?
Yeah, so my path has definitely been different than most. I used to work at Google, so my background is in engineering. But one day I was coming back from a health event so I was coming back on the airplane when suddenly it felt like something was kicking me in my head. I had no idea what was happening. I get the flight attendant attention and she keep telling me that I have motion sickness. I keep telling her that I don't have motion sickness. There's something else. It's still to this day so hard to describe this pain in my head. I knew what motion sickness felt like. Everybody experienced motion sickness, but I just felt like somebody was kicking me in my head and I just didn't know what to do. And she moved me to the back of the plane where the bathrooms were because she keep telling me, you have motion sickness. And that's the last thing I remember. I woke up in the hospital. They estimated I went to 10 seizures. They had grounded the plane and they thought I actually had a brain aneurysm. So they thought there was blood leak in my head, for those that don't know what that is. And so during the whole time I was unconscious because I was unconscious so long. They tested to make sure that my brain get functioning, that I haven't broken any bones or anything of that nature. So they tell me, when I wake up, they tell me that I had went to 10 seizures, and because of the convulsions, even in the hospital, I was still convulsing. They said, they're not even sure the reason why that kept happening is because of turbulence on the plane. Was that I spent 8 to 10 months in and out of the hospital following that in sleep studies. They tested for cancer. They tested for everything that you can imagine. I had to be tested for. So, like at one point, I remember like a nurse coming to the hospital room, and she wanted to stick an IV in my right arm, and I told her that she couldn't. She was like, "Oh, but she does that on the right." She rolled up my hospital gown, and she see that I already have bandages on my right arm, so she had to go to my left. And then when that lady saw that, when the next nurse saw the lymph fill up, they had to go and do a butterfly IV in my hand. But during this time, being an engineer, I decided that I would build my own technology to be able to recognize these different events. And so I started building in the hospital. I started building in and out of the hospital. Another thing, I didn't want to like stay with my mom. I didn't go to college and go look at Google just to have to move back home with my mom. I love my mom, but that's nobody go in life. To like live at home with your parents. And so I developed this MVP using a Raspberry Pi. A Raspberry Pi, by the way, is a mini computer. So most engineers use a Raspberry Pi when they first do an initial prototype, especially one around computer vision. And I developed it, not starting a company. I developed it just to be able to recognize my seizures. And then I posted it on YouTube, and I started getting emails and messages from all over the world. So I'm an engineer, but I'm not like somebody that's good at maps. So I would have to Google what people like was sending me like messages from. I remember like one guy even called and like left me a voicemail on my phone. And like I called him back, and you would thought I was like Beyonce or somebody, because he was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you called me back." I was like, "Yeah, it wasn't that hard. I just hit the read down." But it was like a surreal moment because people sending me their stories. They like, my family member had a stroke. My daughter, she had cardiac arrest. And how can we help? We want, can you detect for our vets? And at one point, I get a phone call from SoftBank and JP Morgan. I'm sitting in my living room in Memphis, Tennessee, literally trying to figure out, like building this technology, trying to figure out, if I would be able to live by myself, because during this time, to be able to build the technology fully, I became a full-time poker player. And so,
I know this story, this part of the story, I was like, did I hear this right when I read this before? Or like poker player.
So let me back up. Before SoftBank and JP Morgan, I to be able to fund the prototype and hire my first engineer, I became a full-time poker player. I grew up a military kid, so I was in like ponytails from the early age, playing with my dad and his friends. And so I needed money, and a lot of jobs require a driver license. When you become epileptic, they take away your driver license, which makes sense, till they know that you have control over your seizures. They don't want you endangering other people. And so I didn't have a driver license. So the jobs narrowed down despite my background in engineering. I was like, well, I need money because people that sent me these letters, I need to be able to start this company. So I was literally playing poker in Vegas, Atlantic City, traveling all over New Orleans. And so And so, yeah, so I built the initial funding. I remember I hired my first engineer, and I say, hey, do you mind being paid on Sundays? Because I play poker Friday, Saturday nights. And I would bring it in thousands of dollars. Like, even like our business, yeah, it was like honestly, like, it was really like amazing, and that's why I think everything in your life is like, life already been mapped out for you. And like, I didn't know I was younger that I was going to be play poker full time. You know, at that time it was just something I did with my dad. So I started building. I paid this engineer to help me code. Buying business cards. I able to travel. I was able to move out my mom's house and down the street, all through poker money.
Mm.
And so then, one day I sit in the apartment, and SoftBank and JP Morgan called me. And I remember, like, SoftBank, they tell me they're in New York to pitch them. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. I pitched SoftBank, but at first I almost hung up on SoftBank. Just to clarify, I never heard of SoftBank a day in my life before that call. And
Wow.
I Googled, who is SoftBank, while they on the phone with me. And I tell everybody that story, like you have to realize, like, this, I'm not the normal, like, Silicon Valley type girl. So SoftBank is not like, I don't think most everyday people would know a SoftBank, because I was a founder that saw a problem and that decided to develop a solution. I wasn't one of those people that was in college was like, hey, I want to start my own tech company, become a founder.
Mm.
And so SoftBank asked me could I meet with their operating partners and engineers the very next day. And I stayed up the whole night Googling how to create a pitch deck. And, now that I look back, the pitch deck was total crap, by the way. It wasn't, like, just so we can clarify, it was not good. But what was good was, like, SoftBank had like 20 people on the call. It's me. It's me and like 20 SoftBank people.
Whoa.
When SoftBank does a call with you, they don't like to waste time. They like to get everybody on there. They had engineers, they had tax people, operating partners, and remember, one of the tax people, she was like, so how have you funded the initial company? I was like, through poker. And they all started laughing, think I would tell her a joke. And then I was like, no, I like being dead serious. Like, this is like through poker. And so, like, for like the first 2 years of the company, I still continued to pay myself through poker. Just so I took that, because SoftBank had ended up investing. And I ended up taking the initial funding for SoftBank, other VCs, and I paid other people while not paying myself. I was like, well, I'm going to continue to play poker and for the funding. But after SoftBank, funded National Science Foundation, they told me about a set of labs in DC. And I ended up moving to DC 2 weeks after the National Science Foundation contacted me. And yeah, it was like literally like people, because I get asked by founders, like, how do you meet SoftBank? I said, SoftBank called me. How do you meet National Science Foundation? I think my number was like written on bathroom or something, because everybody just like kept calling me. And it was literally like, I was so blessed. People was either calling me because they found my number online, or other people that told them about me. So I'm really grateful for so many investors or founders. Like, there would be sometimes that investor met me, but they wouldn't be in the AI space. They would be honest, say, look, we know nothing about AI. We know nothing about vertical, because this is 2020. A lot of people, they did not know about AI. And even now, I had people that we partnered with, I had a meeting with them, and they said, just to be honest, this is a big company, a Fortune 100 company. They was like, they do not know too much about generative AI.
Mm.
And so, what happened, I was lucky enough to have investors, like say, hey, I might not know this space, but I know somebody who, even though they don't know, they'd be willing to take the risk. There's like, this AI that really wasn't too big in 2020, Yeah, so from there, was able to raise it. But literally, when I say I went all in, I literally went all in, on the poker table to start the company in life. Because, like, at the time, you got to think I'm epileptic. So I have epilepsy, right? That's what they end up diagnosing me as. And my medicine I remember 2020, my medicine was $700 because I would get a 3 month supply. It was $700. And my mom was like, "You're going to play poker." Started the company. She was like, "No, you need to get a 9 to 5." She was like, "I understand."
Mm.
She was like, "You want to do engineering." She was like, "But you just can't do that right now." You know, my mom, she was being a mom. But I was like, "Mom," I was like, I have to do engineering." I was like, "I cannot let epilepsy define my life." And so poker gave me this way because you don't need a driver license to play poker. Poker's like, yeah, poker, you pretty much, you can play poker. They really don't ask too much, too many questions when it's time to play poker. And I was able to pay my medicine, and able to move to DC, do 3 years of testing, and get this initial data. And with 2023 hit, people start to listen more, and people start to, okay, if you could create some charts and show us, so show us how big your total market is going to be. Then, we'd be able to invest. And then these mobility companies, these healthcare companies, electronics, they realize, okay, we need more data. And that's what Mobile AI does. We are a core data company. And so they saw how that it can influence their tech stack, and the tech stack then influence their revenue.
Wow. Oh, Megan, I get chills. It's literally, you have such a phenomenal, and I think so, have experienced these pain points and then building it. And I think especially like putting it on YouTube and getting a response from people who are, in the trenches dealing with potentially similar things, or family members, like people calling you and be like, "Wait a minute, like I want this, like help, help, help." It's phenomenal.
And I don't forget about those people. And there's no way I can't. When I mean that, to heal different people's stories. And so, one of my favorite books is The Alchemist. The Alchemist, it basically talk about your destiny in your life. And I do believe that, having those seizures was meant for me to be able to develop, this technology. Originally it started off in healthcare. Yeah, we have expanded to healthcare, but at the end of the day, everything, all the technology we do is the lost vision models. It all to help people in the long run. And yeah, when I had like moms calling me, I remember this one mom story about her daughter. It reminded me about my mom. Like my mom was freaking out because when I woke up a seizure, my mom, wake up to your mom and sitting her next to your hospital bed, and then they trying to see, where's your memory? How's your brain? Who's the president of the United States? That was I answered that question too many times now. And so yeah, and now to take that and develop this company, I know that for me, it's just not about the money, which obviously we plan on making a lot through Lost Vision Model, but it's like I get to help so many people's lives. I hope that these people, when they see me, whether it be on your podcast or somewhere else one day, that they see that I remember their stories. And because I actually not only that I saw write them back, there was so many people that my marketing team had to start helping write these people back. It was really an amazing moment. I don't think too many founders get to experience how many lives they could change like I did.
And I think for me, at least, and no judgment against others, but like founders who know the pain point themselves personally, I feel like show up differently in their companies, and how they know the problem so well to build innovative solutions. They fell in love with the problem because they're dealing with it.
100%.
Well, and I know we're almost at time. I got just, I think, 2 more questions at least for you. One, I think I might never ask another guest, Megan. Do you think your savvy in the poker arena has shaped you as a founder and entrepreneur?
Definitely. So I tell everybody, playing poker is literally like running a startup. Like there's no difference between the poker table and the boardroom table. The people in the boardroom just dress better. Literally, that's the only difference. At the end of the day, it's the truth of the matter. And I always tell people, at least with the poker players, for a fact they trying to take your money. They are out to get you. But the corporate world, like the people would smile in your face and try to steal.
Mhm.
They would smile in your face while trying to take your money, trying to, figure out how to undercut you. In the poker world, at least they can look you in the eye and say, I'm here to take your money tonight. But they both are very, very similar. In the corporate world, I think the poker did get me ready because in the poker world, you have to be able to read people. You have 30 seconds to make what we call a call. So you have 30 seconds to bet, make a call, or vote your calls. So you're playing for thousands of dollars, and you have 30 seconds to say yay or nay, and or get out of the pot, or
Mhm.
and in the corporate world, I think because the poker allowed me to read people so fast. In the corporate world, I'm able to read between the lines, I'm able to read between the smiles, and it let me know if I want to work with these people or not work with them. And I think I think it had led, me to my team to being supportive because they have seen some of these tough decisions where I have to told people, no, we don't want to work with you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what
Mm.
company you're from. And it's because at the end of the day, that poker will allow me to read people battle and we like, hey, this isn't what I think they presented it as. That's not a collaboration that they explain it as. And so I think every founder, you tend to realize you go through this corporate phase where you get stabbed in the back or something of that nature.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think with poker, it had minimized that happening to me. Like, I'm not saying it
Mm.
never happened, but I do think it have allowed me to dodge a lot of these potholes because I have told, being a founder, we have a lot of founder friends. And so you hear these stories and you're like, oh my goodness, this person did what to you? Oh, this VC did what to you?
Mhm.
But I think poker definitely prepared me for the boardroom, the corporate world, more than any college class I took, to be honest.
Wow, that's incredible. Right. And I think it's a crucial thing for any founder to what do you want to say yes to and double and triple down? And what do you need to say no to? I, in the last year, I think said no to 3 big contracts that people were like, seriously? And I'm like, this is not the right fit. We don't have the same aligned goals. I want to triple down in the things that are working, and I think that's a really important skill set. And deciding in 30 seconds. Whoa. Well, I know we're just at the end here. Um, if people are listening to your story and you have such a unique and phenomenal story, but if people are thinking like, what could I learn from her? What advice might she give me? People who are thinking about pivoting to AI, thinking about becoming a founder like you, thinking about innovating on a part of the tech stack. What advice might you give people?
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're going to go towards AI, actually learn it. And by that I mean there's like these opportunities like Google have Udacity, Nvidia also have like these classes that you could take for free. I think it's up to founders. Like if you want to go to it, just don't hire a CTO or engineer. Also make sure that you understand what you're building. So many times like now because AI is a moneymaker. I keep seeing companies just, oh, we're going to just add AI chat bots. I think everybody's been saying, like, suddenly everybody adding AI to the company and trying to call their company AI, but it really not.
Mhm.
But I think actually taking the time to learn it on the weekend, there's so many free courses, again, that Google and Nvidia offer. I'm pretty sure Microsoft, most of these big tech companies, they offer free classes that you could take within the AI space. And the reason I say that, I presented technology at NVIDIA. NVIDIA chose a few of their top startups to come present, top startups to come present at NVIDIA headquarters last year. We were one of those companies. And I remember what people, after we got done clapping, it was like, you was the CEO, you were able to stand up there, not only present, but answer your questions. The other founders, they would get to ask questions. Hold on one second. Let me, they were telling like the engineer, the
Oh, wow.
CEO to come up. And for me, I like, hey, if you're going to be building this product, you're going to, you're going to be the face of the company, build it. You need to know actually what you're building, how it works, how to explain it without your CTO or your engineer coming out. I have a really great CTO. But one thing about it, sometimes we have to do separate meetings. So sometimes he could already be, in a meeting, then suddenly this company wants to meet with me last minute, and they're like, hey, and I'm like, hey, well, I can hop on the call with you. You know what? Because I'm an engineer, I know the background, I patents and things of that, so I can hop on. And so one thing I think people need to start taking classes to really get themselves involved. And the reason why I say take the class with one of these big companies is because also on LinkedIn, I keep seeing people say, generated AI expo, I can train you. Don't fall for the hustle, people. Don't pay don't pay somebody like $300 just because they call themselves a generated AI expert on LinkedIn. Just go to one of the free courses. And the reason I say Udacity, because again, being a former Googler, I know more about Udacity, but I know that NVIDIA also offer a lot of great ways that, founders or just people interested in learning, basic AI can learn more. Take some of these workshops. I don't think you have to go back to school for anything of that, but really, if you're going to be in something, do it great. Take the time to learn about it. Just don't depend on your engineering team to know all the answers for you, because I think AI is officials. I think investors, VCs, are getting tired of that. I think they start launching their money into these AI feature companies in 2023, and these AI feature companies, they're like, well, technically, because they use an open source, they don't even own the IP for it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, we could talk all day, because I was like really surprised in 2023 when I saw Vessels investing into companies that were using open source and they have no IP defensibility. And it wasn't, that means that anybody with enough resources can copy it. When you don't have the IP defense, you get $10 million in a white chain, they could build that same product. And so I do think that to expand that product, they need to start learning the actual AI from at least a basic level.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I agree with all the things you're saying. And I think one of the, in the marketplaces or on social media, like you mentioned, like AI this, AI that, and companies getting funded that were like, seriously, really that? But I think when I talk to customers and they're like, we want AI on it, or like, how do you AI? I thought, just throw machine learning on it. I'm like, what is the actual outcome you want? How do we measure success and ROI? My team, we're like a de-hype type of team. It's like, what moves the needle for you? What is actually going to change your cogs? I love like dreaming of the case study that we build back from. And sometimes it gets like kind of boring or practical, but so tangible to business outcomes that we become invaluable to our customers, as they scale. So I couldn't agree more. Megan, this has been such a delightful conversation. I hope to have you back one day that you could share your journey along the way. Where can people find you and Moment AI online?
Yeah, so you could type in moment.ai into your web browser, or you can go to LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is linkedin.com/Miss Megan Gray. Very easy. Yeah, I was able to get that, so I'm really glad about it. But yeah, we all plan on scaling more. We're going to have a lot of demo days and live streaming coming up. And so you want to follow and see, how we changing the way that people do vision. Just follow my LinkedIn as we continue to post some of those dates.
Awesome. Beautiful. And my team will put that in the show notes, and hopefully I can't wait to see these live streams and demos, Megan. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was delightful to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Joan, for having me. And you were one of the first women in AI that I met, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So, just to see the growth of your company and just to be on this podcast, I'm extremely grateful because you have been in my corner for a long time. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, a win-win. Okay, have a good rest of your day.
Goodbye.
Cheers. Oh, gosh, was that fun? Did you enjoy that episode as much as I did? Well, now be sure to check out our show notes for this episode that has tons of links and resources and our guest bio, etc. Go check it out. If you're ready to dive in to personalize your AI journey, download the free Your AI Roadmap workbook at yourairoadmap.com/ workbook. Well, maybe you work at a company and you're like, hey, we want to grow in data and AI, and I'd love to work with you. Please schedule an intro and a sync with me at Clarity AI at higherclarity.ai. We'd love to talk to you about it. My team builds custom AI solutions, digital twins, optimizations, data, fun stuff for small and medium-sized businesses. Our price points start at 5, 6, 7, 8 figures, depends on your needs, depending on your time scales, etc. If you liked the podcast, please support us. Can you please rate, review, subscribe, send it to your friend, DM your boss, follow wherever you get your podcasts. I certainly learned something new, and I hope you did too. Next episode drops soon. Can't wait to hear another amazing expert building an AI. Talk to you soon.